One overthinker to another, I've got you. Anytime there's uncertainty or worry, your brain goes a million miles an hour, playing out what-if scenarios or constructing conversations in your mind that never even happened. You spend all that energy only to leave you with no path forward, feeling overwhelmed with more anxiety than before. Sound familiar? And then there's how others respond. What do you have to be anxious about? You think too much. Or maybe even diagnosing you with paralysis by analysis. So helpful. They think they're helping, but it just leaves you feeling misunderstood and even more stressed. It feels like true calm is just impossible. Today we're going to get into this. I'm going to help you understand overthinking in some completely new ways. I'll give you some of my best techniques for quieting the mind in the moment and for breaking that cycle altogether over time. We'll talk about how to take all those smarts and mental energy you have and turn them into real productivity instead of just fuel for that overthinking fire. When you're less overwhelmed and anxious, you can live into all that potential instead of just spinning your wheels. When overthinking kicks in, it's your nervous system going into overdrive. Our brains are wired to give us energy and focus when there's a perceived threat, but we're designed for a few basic challenges a day, not the constant modern onslaught of text messages, driving in traffic, and politics. This means any little stressor can feel like a threat, overwhelming you with a combination of mental, physical, and emotional responses. Racing mind, accelerated heart rate, and a surge of worry and frustration. While you desperately want to feel calm, your mind and body are actually conspiring to help you fight that imaginary tiger. The disconnect is a problem, but there's good news too. I have 3 powerful, easy to understand approaches to reducing overthinking. Not only have I taught these to countless people over the years, but I've also used them to manage my own overthinking. When we catch ourselves in an overthinking loop, the first thing we do is beat ourselves up for overthinking. We overthink about overthinking. We let the self-criticism fly, and we demand that we not do the thing that we're already doing, leaving us feeling frustrated and defeated. In mindfulness work, we call this the second dart. If the first dart is the unavoidable pain of everyday life, like accidentally whacking your leg on the coffee table when you get up from the couch, the second dart is all the ways we dogpile onto that original pain with anger, self-judgment, and demanding that the reality you're in somehow be different than it is. It's a way we add suffering to our pain. Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, and self-imposed. When you catch yourself cycling into overthinking again, try this. Try reminding yourself that this is a natural part of the human experience. Say something to yourself like, "There goes my busy brain again, trying to protect me from predators." You see, that's what's really going on with overthinking. It's your busy brain trying to protect you from danger. It's your nervous system trying to adapt. This is a good start for disrupting the process. We learn to lean into the positive emotions of being protected and away from the criticism and self-doubt you're so used to. As the saying goes, if you don't like being in a hole, putting down the shovel is a good start. When we normalize the struggle and recognize it as a survival trait, we stop viewing ourselves as broken. The second technique is refocusing on the here and now. Most overthinking cycles fall into one critical trap. They focus on the should and the what if scenarios. We don't tend to overthink about things that are present for us in the here and now. We tend to overthink about the things we either don't know or can't control. When we engage in this should be this way or what if that happened, we're focusing on things that are by definition not true. They're not part of our reality in the here and now. It's impossible to affect things that only exist in your internal narrative. We can't change things that don't actually exist. Overthinking is all the mental gymnastics we do when we try to know the unknowable and control the uncontrollable. The reason we feel so overwhelmed by overthinking is that we feel that loss of control so deeply. It feels unsafe. If the basic job of your brain and nervous system is to promote survival, then anything that feels unsafe is going to feel pretty uncomfortable. Overthinking is just one of those ineffective ways we try to create safety. We spin these thoughts over and over in our minds, hoping we can somehow think our way into a new reality. The more we ground ourselves in what's true in the here and now, 2 important things happen. First, we stop spinning our mental wheels in frustration. And second, we empower ourselves by refocusing our energy on those things we can know and can have an effect on. How do we do this? It starts with one important question. What is true? I teach that true has a 4-part definition for this purpose. For something to be true, it needs to be 1, accurate. This may seem obvious, but think about how often your overthinking patterns focus on stories that don't resemble what's really going on. Number 2, it needs to be verifiable. We need to literally be able to confirm with our own 5 senses that something is accurate. 3, it needs to be here, affecting you directly or present in your environment. And 4, it needs to meet these standards right now in the present moment. Verifiably accurate in the here and now. That's what's true. If it doesn't meet that standard, odds are it can't undermine your safety or your security. So next time you're playing out scenarios over and over in your mind, try asking yourself one simple question. What's true? If you don't know something has happened because you've verified its accuracy with your own senses, it's not true. Let me give you an example. If you said something embarrassing to someone, maybe you're replaying it over and over in your head. I can't believe I said that. They must think I'm an idiot. If the person didn't respond positively, but also didn't say, I think you're kind of an idiot, then it's not true. It's just a worst case scenario you've made up in your mind and are now using to beat yourself up. By the way, if someone did say something hurtful to you like that and you want me to make a video about how to respond, leave a comment below. Or what about worrying about a bad outcome? I was late to work again. I'm probably going to get fired. Remember, it's not true until it happens. You can spend a whole lot of energy trying to solve a problem that does not exist in the here and now. If you haven't been fired, you're not fired. If you do get fired, you can deal with the reality of that if it happens. What's verifiably accurate in the here and now? When you answer that question, the hypotheticals go away, and you can focus all your energy on dealing with that instead of getting worked up about worst-case scenarios invented by your fear-driven brain. Now, I have to be honest with you. These approaches can be very helpful, but they're not my favorite. Here's why. These are cognitive processes driven by the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain that's tasked with analysis and planning. These processes are important, but they're relatively slow. When you overthink, you may be aware of the physical and emotional overwhelm that comes along with overthinking. That's the uncomfortable part. And guess what? Those responses are not driven by the analytical part of the brain. They're driven by the fear center down near the brainstem. That part of the brain is not logical, but it's super fast. It's about 10 times faster than the logical problem-solving part of the brain. So while truth testing your overactive thoughts is really helpful in disrupting that process by putting down the shovel, it does nothing to calm your physical and emotional discomfort. By the time you use truth testing to disrupt the process, the part of the brain that focuses on fear, that's already talking to your nervous system. So what do? We use a research-proven way to calm the nervous system. With technique number 3, calm the body, and the mind will follow. There are many ways to do this, but I like breathing techniques to calm the body. Here are some examples. Take 10 long, slow, deep breaths. Inhale slowly, don't scrunch your shoulders. Let the belly expand and keep the neck and shoulders relaxed. Breathe in for 4 to 6 seconds through your nose, then exhale gently through your mouth for 4 to 6 seconds, and then repeat. Now don't do this when you're driving or doing anything else that could be dangerous, because it can make you a little lightheaded if you're not used to doing it. Be seated comfortably just in case. You may be surprised how much taking 10 deep breaths can help relax your nervous system. Remember, if you calm the body, the mind will follow. I've done this with elite athletes, professional musicians, and soldiers in the U.S. military. I'm always impressed at how it helps people calm themselves and regain focus. A variation on this you may find helpful is the box breath. Again, only do this in a place where it's safe if you get a little lightheaded. It's simple. Find a deep breathing rhythm you can do comfortably. For most people, that's 4, 5, or 6 seconds. Begin by breathing in. Let's say 5 seconds. In for 5. Then hold for 5. Then breathe gently out for 5, and then hold on an empty tank for 5. Then repeat that process a few times. The box breath is a Navy SEALs technique. These elite soldiers use this technique to find calm and focus when they're on maneuvers in some of the most dangerous and intense environments in the world. If it's good enough for the Navy SEALs, it's good enough for us too. So I've shared some of my best techniques today for managing overthinking and stress. Now I want to hear from you. What would be most helpful for you to integrate these strategies into your daily life? Would a downloadable handout summarizing these points be useful? Or perhaps shorter, focused videos where I guide you through these breathing techniques step by step. Your feedback helps me create content that truly serves you. So please leave a comment below and let me know. What do you need and how can I help you on your journey to less overthinking and more calm? Friends, thanks for being with me today. I look forward to your feedback and requests. And until next time, be well.